So ability-wise, Sesko's skill set is already so complete, whilst also having specialist attributes within that skill set, that I think that you have to say that he does have elite level potential. Definitely more impressive overall than Højlund, which is evident from the eye test, with Sesko having one of the best ball striking techniques I've ever seen. Able to rather casually release an absolute cannon of a strike from range, off of either foot, with little to no backlift, hit with both power and placement. His technical ability for a player of his size is incredibly unusual. Like Nick Woltemade, Sesko's close ball control and quick feet enables him to link play efficiently when receiving a pass between the lines with his back to goal, or when he drifts wide into more congested zones, looking to dribble past one or two defenders where technical ability is needed rather than pure pace and power. But unlike Nick Woltemade, Sesko also has the pace and power in combination, making him just as effective on the counter, being rapid over 30 to 50 yards, with him able to provide movements in behind the centre backs to get into goal scoring positions as well. Now from the eye test, I don't see how you can't be impressed with Sesko, whether it's these long range strikes with his laces from distance, a finesse shot from a tight angle, a perfectly placed header from a significant distance, or an acrobatic attempt from an awkward position. Sesko, like Erling Haaland, has a variety of different elite level finishes in his skill set, which alongside his technical and aerial ability when linking play, his effectiveness when spinning out into the channel, as well as his first touch and ball control when receiving a pass inside of the box, in my opinion means that Sesko's ability is up there with any striker in the world based purely on moments. But before I get into that, if you want to check out any cheap, good quality football jerseys, go over to okjersey.com. They've got the new Manchester United releases for the upcoming season, with OK Jersey also allowing you to pick up high quality football shirts from just £15, plus free shipping across Europe for all orders over £45. They sent me over these new release alternative Manchester United jerseys from this season, as well as a long-sleeved retro home shirt from the 92-93 season with Cantona 7 on the back, alongside this Nuno Gomes Benfica shirt from the 97-98 season as well. If you use code ALANTIS at checkout, you'll get a discount, so I'll leave it linked in the description and in the comment section below. However, despite both strikers in my opinion having elite level potential, Sesko's issue is actually the opposite to Nicolas Jackson's. See, both statistically and from the eye test, Jackson stands out as someone who is an effective ball carrier but also a chance creator for himself and others, which can be seen when we plot ball carrying frequency against non-penalty XG plus expected assists for every striker under 25 in the top 5 leagues. Jackson sits as an outlier for both, over to the far right side, whereas Benjamin Sesko hovers around the median for both, which shows that in terms of output at least, Jackson is less dependent on his goal scoring than Sesko, providing greater ball progression and creativity. Jackson records a very high non-penalty XG rate, but he significantly underperforms his non-penalty XG. Even if he was just converting his non-penalty XG bang on with no overperformance, he would still be recording a non-penalty goals rate just behind Erling Haaland, showing that if Jackson is able to improve his finishing, he's going to be able to have a significant development in a short period of time, potentially becoming one of the best strikers in the world. Whereas on the other hand, Sesko has consistently overperformed his non-penalty XG, not just this season in the Bundesliga or Champions League, but also throughout the last few seasons as well. Jackson needs to improve his finishing ability because he's already producing elite level output when it comes to getting into and creating high value shooting opportunities for himself, while Sesko needs to improve his movement, positioning and his offensive instincts in order to generate significantly higher non-penalty XG and non-penalty XG per shot rates, both of which rather underwhelmingly were ranking below the median last season, as this plot graph shows. And so when deciding who to sign out of Benjamin Sesko and Nicolas Jackson, it's best to think of it in terms of whether it's easier in terms of coaching and time to develop Sesko's movement and offensive instincts, or even simply just adjust how he's used in the system in order to allow him to receive high value chances more often, or to improve Jackson's composure, decisiveness and shooting technique in front of goal, specifically in 1v1s and for first time finishes inside of the box. If Nicolas Jackson's stylistic qualities do remind me of a young Alexander Isak when he first moved to Real Sociedad, Sesko on the other hand reminds me of a young Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Not being like for like in terms of their skill set exactly, but in terms of being able to consistently and frequently score goals that pretty much no other striker in the world can, which can change or win a game out of nowhere, Sesko certainly has a similar sort of trait. Now, whilst I usually say that it's easier to develop a striker's finishing ability rather than to develop their ability to consistently generate high value chances shown by their non-penalty XG, in the case of Benjamin Sesko, I actually think his low non-penalty XG and non-penalty XG per shot rates last season were primarily down to the role that he was being used in at Leipzig, and we can see that this theory holds statistical weight when we compare Sesko's non-penalty XG per shot and his overall non-penalty XG from last season to the previous season in 23-24. In the Bundesliga last season, he recorded a non-penalty XG rate of 0.32 per 90, sitting in the 55th percentile, as well as a non-penalty XG per shot rate of 0.13 per shot, which ranked in the 58th percentile. The season before, however, in the Bundesliga, that was 0.45 per 90 and the 82nd percentile for his non-penalty XG, and 0.16 and the 78th percentile for his non-penalty XG per shot, with him actually ranking higher in the Champions League last season for both of those metrics, 0.48 and the 70th percentile for his non-penalty XG, with his non-penalty XG per shot rate sitting at 0.18 per 90 in the 72nd percentile. And so statistically, we can see that the average quality of Sesko's shots have declined by a rough estimation of around 20 to 30%, which I think is because of how he was used last season in a front two alongside a Pender, as often rather than being able to hold a high and narrow position between the two centre-backs with the intention of maximising his frequency of receiving a high value chance for our game, as he would be used hopefully at United, Sesko playing in the front two instead was often tasked with spinning into wider areas, having a greater role in the progression of the ball into chance creating positions than actually maximising his own ability to receive that chance. If used as a lone central striker in a front three, then I think that on its own will be responsible for a significant rise in Sesko's non-penalty XG, as well as his non-penalty XG per shot, which therefore, if his finishing ability maintains, which I think it will, his overall goal scoring output should increase significantly. Even just by plotting shots per 90 against shot frequency, you can see that Sesko only ranks just above the median for both, and so there is clearly a need to actually get him shooting more often. Now, this doesn't mean that Sesko, if he was at United, wouldn't be dropping off to get involved in deeper areas at all, as what makes Sesko so good is that he specialises in quite a few key traits. I've already spoken about his ball striking, ball control and aerial ability, but Sesko's ball carrying can also be a potent weapon during the transition, as he showed against Atletico Madrid in the Champions League last season, picking up the ball inside his own half on the counter and driving the attack forward into the open space, just as we would see from Matheus Cunha, before he's then able to find the right pass and eventually use his height and leap to score the header. And so it may be worth having Sesko dropping deeper when United are defending inside their defensive third, and not just from crossing situations defensively, where Sesko's aerial dominance could see him playing a similar role to Didier Drogba from corner situations, but also towards the end of the game when United are sitting deep trying to see out a win. But the majority of the time, rather than holding a position high up the pitch alongside the two centre-backs, Sesko can instead hold a position in space in deeper areas, looking to receive possession turn and drive the counter-attack forward, as he was able to do in the example prior, which alongside Cunha, Mbeumo, Ahmad and Dorgu would give United a highly effective transitional attack containing pace, power and ball carrying ability in abundance. So overall, do I think that Manchester United should sign Benjamin Sesko this summer, and for how much? Well, without doing a full comparison with the other alternatives outside Nicholas Jackson, which I will do in a separate video, I would be happy with United signing Sesko for between £55 to £65 million, as long as it didn't force us to significantly lower the quality of our central midfield target, and ideally also a left wing back signing as well. Sesko has elite level potential, as high as any other striker in world football. He also has a consistent record of overperforming his XG, despite his lower non-penalty XG numbers this season. And from the eye test, I also think that he has the quality to eventually develop into a specialist in 3 or 4 key traits. I think Nicholas Jackson's potential is high, but I think Sesko's is generational. The question is, however, how long does it take him to reach that level, as having only just turned 22, I think it could take him maybe 12 to 18 months at least, before we start to see Sesko consistently hitting the level where the likes of Watkins and Gyökeres currently are. And also, I think his skill set is complete enough to the point where I think he'd work significantly better in a front three with Mbeumo and Cunha than Victor Gyökeres would have stylistically. And overall, if he was signed, even if he doesn't hit the elite level until maybe 2027 for example, his natural technical ability does make me confident that he's still going to be a significant improvement on what United currently have in both Højlund and Xerxes. So thanks for watching. Let me know if you would take Sesko at Manchester United. If you want to see any more plot graphs, you can sign up to my Patreon to get a 7-day free trial. It will be on the end screen after the video. And if you want to check out any cheap, good quality football jerseys, go over to okjersey.com. You can use code Atlantis at checkout for a discount. I'll leave a link in the description and in the comment section below. And you can also check out the playlist I've just made as well, which I'll leave on the end screen now as well.